Thanks, Charlie. These two very old people are the father and mother of Mr. Bucket. Their names are Grandpa Joe and Grandma Josephine. And these two very old people are the father and mother of Mrs. Bucket. Their names are Grandpa George and Grandma Georgina. This is Mr. Bucket. This is Mrs. Bucket. Mr. and Mrs. Bucket have a small boy whose name is Charlie Bucket. This is Charlie. How do you do? And how do you do? And how do you do again? He is pleased to meet you.
Mrs. Twit was no better than her husband. She did not, of course, have a hairy face. It was a pity she didn't, because at any rate would have hidden some of her fearful ugliness. Take a look at her. Have you ever seen a woman with an uglier face than that?
It's not fair, shrieked horrid Henry. He trampled on Dad's new flower bed, squashing the pansies. It's just not fair. Moody Margaret had lost 2 teeth. Sour Susan had lost 3. Clever Claire lost 2 in one day. Rude Ralph had lost 4, 2 top and 2 bottom, and could spit to the blackboard from his desk.
I'm going to read to you Lost and Found by Oliver Jeffers. Once there was a boy, and one day he found a penguin at his door. The boy didn't know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. The penguin looked sad, and the boy thought it must be lost. So the boy decided to help the penguin find its way home. He checked in the Lost and Found office, but no one was missing a penguin. He asked some birds if they knew where the penguin came from, but they ignored him. Some birds are like that.
OK, I'm going to read you Mr. Men, Rainy Day by Roger Hargreaves. So, it's a disaster, cried Miss Splendid when she opened her curtains to see that it was pouring with rain. The rain was going to spoil her day out. How was anyone going to have any fun if they were stuck inside all day? It was not going to be the splendid day out that she'd hoped for. It was going to be a boring day in. Where was the fun in that? And then little Miss Fun arrived. It's a disaster, cried little Miss Splendid. Nonsense, said little Miss Fun. There are plenty of fun things to do inside on a rainy day. Do you really think so? Asked little Miss Splendid, hopefully. Better than that. I know so, cried little Miss Fun. Now, leave it all to me. Soon, all little Miss Splendid's friends started to arrive. Mr. Forgetful had forgotten his umbrella, and his Wellingtons had filled with water.
Welcome to another world. This is a green and terrifying world where horrible things happen every day. A world where death is an ugly tendril, slowly reaching out to strangle its victim. A world where the only rule is kill or to be killed.
Now be a good boy and pop back to your seat, ordered Miss Root. Alfie did what he was told, not wanting to catch anyone's eyes for fear of further humiliation. He put his head down as he trudged back to his seat. Now, children, continued the lady, who else would like a present? I have some free sweeties. Hundreds of hands shot up, and the school, and soon the hall was humming with chattering children. But don't sweets rot your teeth, shouted out Gabs.
I'm going to read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Chapter 1, The Boy Who Lived. Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal, thank you very much. They were the last people you'd expect to be involved in anything strange or mysterious, because they just didn't hold with such nonsense. Mr. Dursley, who was a director of a firm called Grunnings, which made drills, who was a big, beefy man with hardly any neck.